Hey there, horror movie tea sippers.
The following podcast episode will contain spoilers for the movie we are about to review. If you have not seen the movie and do not wish to have anything ruined prematurely, please do not continue to watch or listen until you have seen the movie.
And welcome to the Horror Movie Tea Podcast. Today we are covering the Gorge. But before we go into the review, let's grab our cups and talk about tea. So, to celebrate today's movie, we are, in honor of today's movie.
There you go.
We are drinking the Brutality's The Walking Ginger Dead tea. It's got black tea, rooibos tea, cinnamon bark, orange peels, ginger root, cloves, cardamom, gingerbread, and vanilla flavors. Oh. But for our tea sippers out there, brew yourself a cup of tea, sit back, relax, and we hope you enjoy the review.
It's going to be a great day.
It's going to be interesting. The caffeine hasn't kicked in yet, and then once it does. But anyways.
It's going to be great.
Yep. So for the summary of the Gorge, these two, mercenaries. These two mercenaries are each brought to separate towers that overlook this gorge, and they're just told, kill
anything that comes out of it.
Yeah, kill everything that comes out of it. And they start communicating with each other, even though they're not supposed to. And then they end up getting close and in love with each other. And then on the way back, the guy falls into the gorge. And so she goes into the gorge after him. And that's when you find that there's actually a fantastical world beneath, all due to a nuclear missile that
No, it was a toxin leak.
Okay, it's a toxin leak.
Because they were trying to genetically engineer super soldiers.
Yeah. And, so that didn't go well. And so now they have, a whole, little ecosystem. And, So it's an action-y with lore and some horror elements. So, yeah. This is great.
Maybe don't wing it.
Yeah. And so next episode might have a little bit better of a summary. Anyways, so for entertainment, this is why we don't wing things. Every time I'm like, this is fine. We can do this. Fine. We've been doing this for years.
Fine. Let's continue.
Anyways,
we continue.
Yeah, so for entertainment, I actually really enjoyed this movie. At first, whenever I was starting this, I'm like, I feel like we might have overreached a bit on the horror, but
you didn't watch the preview first, did you?
I did.
Okay.
But once it got down to inside the gorge, I wanted to know more. I honestly kind of wish they had given us more information, but at the same time appreciate that they didn't oversaturate us with lore. But this is a solid 7.5, maybe kind of creeping close to a 7.5, but it's definitely a solid 7.5 for me. I thought that both of the characters that they had were really interesting, and you're they're both super badass. Mm-hmm. And if they're having trouble handling this, can't even imagine.
It's a problem.
Yeah. And I thought it kind of does reel you into their story with them communicating with each other, and then him making this whole thing to be able to go over to her side, and then at the end them destroying the gorge. Anyway, so it's just it kept me very much in engaged in the movie, which is very hard to do.
It's very hard to do with her. Very hard.
But no, it's I wanted to know more, and it gives you enough information at little bits of a time that it just keeps you wanting to watch.
Yes.
And I feel that the imagery, especially in the Gorge, was really, really cool.
Yes.
And then I especially enjoyed when the major leak had happened and you see all of the bodies like connected to each other and they're just like like breathing, like, oh man, it's like so.
They looked like neurons.
Yeah.
In a brain.
Yeah. Yeah, it was really, really cool.
Yeah.
And then plus gotta appreciate, oh man, I forgot the actress's name, but gotta appreciate that they put Ripley there.
Oh, yeah, Sigourney Weaver.
Yeah, Sigourney Weaver.
I thought you were talking about the main chick.
Oh, her too. I mean,
Yeah,
she was
did an
great in the
amazing
menu.
job, yeah.
Yeah, well, and it's like she's just so good at pulling off like I'm a sexy badass vibes.
Yeah.
But not like the, ooh, I'm just like so overly sexy. Just like
No.
she's sexy, but you're afraid of her.
Yes. The best kind.
Yeah. The best kind. I don't know. but
If you know, you know.
but like, I don't know. I really enjoyed it. I also thought it was interesting, like the stuff that they reveal to the viewer versus like what they keep to just the characters. Like, you know, it's like the guy that had helped him transfer over. It's like he had no idea that he got killed afterwards. And so it's like, you just know, it just, you know, alludes to you that, oh crap, like.
He was figuring out by the end.
Yes. Oh yeah. By the end, they're definitely
said
getting
at
wise.
one point, he's like, we are expendable.
Yeah.
That's why they chose me specifically.
Yeah.
I'm expendable.
Right. Yes.
And they were harping on in the interview with him of, you sure there's no one that you would come back to? No one that couldn't live without you? Any family? Any friends? Job?
Pretty sus.
Yeah, when they were going through the interview, I'm sitting here like, we've already said this a couple of times now. I have concerns. You're not coming back from this, are you?
Yeah. But
Because, no.
but no, it's like I thought the movie overall was really well done. I really enjoyed it. Like I said, I enjoyed the lore. Wish there was a teeny tiny bit more. Like I almost wish like they can keep the movie the same, but if they can come out with like spin-off material, like a graphic novel or a TV show where it's like how it started or something, that'd be so cool.
I would love a TV show. Ooh, with the cavalry
Yes.
that they sent in there.
Yes. Oh, that would be so cool.
That would be great.
Yeah. But anyways,
We'd be all for it.
Yep.
It was really well done. The CG was well done. It didn't look too cheesy or anything like that. It was very much engaging. Hated the spiders.
Whenever that part came on, I'm like, oh, Jess is gonna hate
I hate it. I was sitting there. No, like you see something crawling in the background. I'm like, oh no. Oh, I don't like that. This is a bad place. I don't like this.
Oh.
I don't like this. Chrissy, wake up. Hated it. Very well done. I will say that. Very well done. Thanks, I hate it. But it was a very interesting movie. I really enjoyed it. I actually give it an 8 for entertainment.
Dang.
I really enjoyed it thoroughly. The banter between the two was really good. They had good chemistry.
Yeah.
You
didn't feel
can't-
forced.
It really didn't. You can't expect two people to be isolated for a year and tell them you can't even talk with the other person, the other isolated person on the other side.
Yeah, and if it's that important, they really didn't seem to do that good of a job enforcing it.
No, they suck.
Yeah.
They suck at enforcing it.
And also, it's like, I don't know why it would be a problem. Like, I could see maybe, like, distracting from, like, the
Distracting,
mission.
but also, I think, giving them a sense of hope that they just have a year and then they'll be able to go out and do whatever afterward.
Only to be killed.
Yeah, if they know they're going to die at the end of it, what's to keep them there? And if they figure that out by talking to each other and working through that together, then they're kind of screwed.
Yeah. Plus, 2 people are harder to get rid of if they were to become a problem than just one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. So, the creatures are all unique, like, even of the same kind. Most of them still varied in some way, shape, or form. Yeah. So it was interesting. I really did want more of that. Honestly, like, we could have a little bit less of their interactions across the gorge if we could have a little bit more lore.
Yeah.
And a little bit more of them looking at these different things or fighting these different things and all. Personally, it was all great though. Like, if they had to cut anything, that's what I'm saying. Really, if they could have just added it in and kept everything else the same, I'd be fine with that
I'd be
too.
fine with a longer movie. Yeah.
I would have been fine with that too. That would have been great. If this was, I also definitely would have watched it if it was like a TV series instead, so we could see these things like every episode.
Yeah, because it's like they showed you hints and snippets of what all has been going on in there, and they just didn't really expand on it, and so it piqued your interest and be like, nope, we're moving on with the plot, and you're like, no.
Well, yeah, the first time you really see the Hollow Men, and they're obviously like from the World War II kind of era and all, like from the cavalry.
Yeah, I thought it was
clearly, or one of the two. I don't know.
World War II had more mechanics and
fair. That is fair. Okay, so whenever, one of the world wars. Regardless, you knew exactly who they were if you were really paying attention, and I was honestly a little frustrated with the guy for taking so long to figure it out. Like, he figured it out in the gorge, and I'm like, like, really? You don't say. So I feel like he could have been a little bit smarter too, but it's fine.
You do have to realize that it would be pretty shocking.
It would, because logically speaking, like, it's been decades with no aid or anything. Like, there's no...
Like, they should be dead.
Yeah, logically, they should be long dead. They should be, like, skeletons or dust. Like, there should be very, very little of them left.
Yes.
But here they are climbing up the sides of the gorge trying to eat me.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was... I wish we had a little more lore. This movie makes you want more. And the ending is really satisfying. I did appreciate the ending. It's just, I have good things to say. I just have good things. Except the spiders. I don't like the spiders.
I wish I had done 2 scoops. The heaping 1 scoop was not enough.
I did a heaping scoop and a half.
And it's so tantalizing because it smells so good, and you're like, this is going to taste wonderful, and then you taste it and you're like, where is it? It's just hot water.
It's one of those, huh?
Yeah.
Dang.
Damn you, brutalities.
It can sometimes be hit or miss. Like, they all smell amazing.
Yeah.
They all smell amazing. And it could also just be the steeping time, because mine's still in there, but...
Well, so I think next time we try this, I'm going to do... Because I also realized that we only heated up the water up to 185, and it's 195 that recommends. And so I'm going to do 2 scoops at 195 and steep it.
See, mine has a lot of flavor. I think it's the steeping time. Because mine's still in there.
But it only says to steep to 300.
Since when do we ever listen to this?
I know, I always do like twice that much. But still, it's like... Anyways. Tea drinker problems. I will say, though, it is interesting with, like, tea brands where, like, some are more consistent than others. Like, I feel like Plum Deluxe and Republic of Tea, their flavors tend to be a lot more consistent than Brutality's.
Yeah.
So I don't know what the difference is. If it's the mixture of stuff or where they're sourcing the ingredients from or what is the difference?
I don't know. I don't know. But we're also very particular about, like, we want the flavor of the tea to punch us in the face, so.
Yes.
I know other tea sippers prefer more, like, subtle, weaker teas.
The weak. The weak tea drinkers. We need strong tea drinkers. Only strong tea drinkers are allowed to listen to this podcast.
Strong, like Brom.
Which is, like, so ironic, because I'm, like, such a fucking noodle.
You are 100% noodle.
Like, I rearranged my room recently.
You rearranged it?
Okay. My husband and I rearranged this recording room, and Jess was so convinced I was going to, like, throw out my back or something and be down for 2 weeks.
Yep.
She is like, if this impacts our podcast recording, you're in trouble.
Mm-hmm.
But
I told her flat out, I'm going to be pissed.
But everything was fine. I did not hurt myself. It's
That's
just my
good.
feet that hurt.
Get to the realism.
But yeah. Okay, realism. Yes, ma'am.
Someone's got to keep this train wreck on the rails.
Hey, maybe people like our little digressions. That's why you watch.
For the chaos.
Yeah, it's not for the movie. Who cares about the movie?
It's literally the whole reason for the episode is to review the movie.
Okay, so realism. Like, really the most unrealistic part is, like, the gorge itself, and also, like, them, like, this one's difficult because whenever you are watching them, like, do, like, acrobats and, like, actually, like, fighting and stuff, I feel like the fighting itself was, like, decently realistic.
It was.
And pretty believable. But the whole scenario of the gorge in and of itself, it's like, if there's a poison gas leak, they would probably be dead or, like, be mutated and dead. Or, I mean, honestly, like, the ones that kind of look like neurons. Yeah, neurons. Those would probably be, like, maybe the most realistic scenario in that, like, movie setting. But, like, having, like, the actual, like, horsemen and stuff would probably not be plausible. Anyways, I give it a 2.5. And also you have to think, like, the way that they have the gorge set up, and they specifically want people that are expendable. Like, I know we have a lot of people in the world, but how many people are actually to the point where they're expendable like that?
More than you think.
I don't know, but
More than you think.
But it's like, I feel like a lot of how it operates is dependent on the reliance of certain things, where I feel like it's kind of a limited resource. So, like, you know, if they're doing it for, like, 300, like, let's say, like, off in the future, they're doing it for, like, 300, 500 years or whatever, it's like, you know, you're eventually going to run out. But I guess hopefully they would have figured out how to do super soldiers by then. But yeah, I don't know. It's like they're like, the actual situation itself is just a lot up to, the word that pops in my head is faith, but that doesn't quite pinpoint what I'm trying to say. But I think you understand what I'm trying to say. But yeah, that's what I got.
So I also gave it a 2.5 for slightly different reasons. Mm-hmm. But I do agree that the gorge is the biggest problem. Because it's like a toxin leak in the area, and they made it seem like it was, like, gaseous. Then
It eventually, like,
it would
released.
either dissipate or spread.
Right.
It shouldn't necessarily be contained to that one area. It doesn't really make that much sense.
Right.
They said also that if they continued along the gorge out, that there was a way out because the cavalry had to go in somehow.
Yeah.
But
it
they
was really,
set up
like, exposure.
They set up landmines and stuff at the end of it where the exit was. Really, some landmines were going to keep those things in there when you have turret guns and everything? Why are they scaling the walls over and over and over? Like, why wouldn't they go out there? Because, I mean, yeah, the landmines would have to be reset, but so some of them would be blown up, but not all, surely.
Yeah.
And also, why didn't we see more wildlife that was affected?
Yeah.
I'm sure a lot of it would have run, but not everything would have been able to make it out
Right. Yeah.
quick enough.
Yeah.
Some of it would have also been used for food, I'm sure, but there were spiders. Why not other bugs?
True. Well, and then for there to be able to be spiders, there has to be bugs.
Yeah, there has to be some kind of food source. And now they could have also been feeding on the cavalrymen plant things because they seem to hate each other. So that was a possibility, but then at some point, logically, they're either going to start working together or they're going to wipe one or the other or both out. There's a finite source of them. Unless the people that they're killing, they're also dropping back into the gorge.
Yeah, like the whole containment thing.
It's just, it doesn't make that much sense.
I at least appreciated that they did give us, like, a measurement on, like, this is how much exposure is okay before something goes wrong.
Yes.
And that was a part of why they, like, went out the way that they did.
And here are the signs.
Yeah.
And that's why we saw her marking on the cave wall.
Yeah.
X amount of days. So that was good. At the very end, he was hobbling along and made that shot at like 3.9 kilometers, something like that. She had to have actually shot farther. And made the shot. And they shot at the same time. She wasn't hobbling along.
Yeah.
And she was able to stand without moving and watch the explosion.
Yeah, that's true.
And he was blown away by the aftershocks and everything of the explosion.
Yeah.
So she was much farther away. So I kind of wish, this is a little nitpicky, but at the very end, when she said, you just had to beat my record, I wish she had said, you just had to beat my old record. Because clearly she had to have shot farther than him.
Yeah. Yeah. Or because, you know, it showed the graphic of, like, and then the explosion itself is, like, it's circular. So, I don't know. But, yeah, I mean, it definitely...
So, he also had to hit one of the drones at a time. And he was fighting them while injured and hobbling along.
Yeah.
She was able to fell both of them with one bullet. And kept running.
Yeah.
Like, she wasted very little time, so she was definitely further along.
Yeah.
Just saying. But they also, going back to the gorge and the ridiculousness of it, with the explosion, wouldn't that potentially allow it to spread easier? Or
you would think
send
that
out
like,
the toxins, projected into the air or into the surrounding forest, which was clearly a problem. They said it was largely plant life that was mutating with other biological material. So I feel like that would have made the problem worse. Or because a lot of plants can still potentially grow. Like, there are some plants that can only grow after a fire. So I feel like an explosion's not necessarily gonna fix it. Like, it might potentially still be a problem. And then if it's not contained, because it no longer is, wouldn't it still spread?
Well, and then, like, an explosion isn't going to guarantee that all of, like, the biologicals are going to be killed. Like, whether it be plants or mammals or whatever.
Don't get us wrong, that was a giant explosion. But still,
yeah.
I feel like you might need to make sure. And I can see the benefit of studying the things, if nothing else, for scientific curiosity. But trying to make super soldiers with this stuff, I feel like it seemed more like the plants became parasitic. And they were using whatever material they could to be able to move and grab prey and things like that. So, and become mobile. So I feel like that would cause a lot more problems.
Well, plus,
and
like,
I feel like
whole,
the people
like,
would
ethical...
lose themselves. It would be extremely unethical.
Yeah.
But when does that ever stop anyone? It just... there's a lot of problems with the scenario itself. I feel like they would see that the potential dangers and harm would outweigh any potential reward. And that's a very, very slight potential for reward, too. Mm-hmm. So maybe don't do that. Like, maybe, find some way to neutralize it and get rid of that area. But that's just me. Also, they were expected to garden and grow their own food. What if they suck at gardening?
Right.
Or what if there's some freak weather thing and it fails? Or what if, God forbid, one of the Hollow Men get up past that point, and because they got onto the tower itself a few times. Mm-hmm. What if they got past that point and potentially contaminated somehow the plants that they're growing? Like, there's a lot of what ifs, and there's very little we saw fail safes. Like, what if they died? Because exposure and random illness and infections can kill just as easily as a Hollow Man can.
I feel like they almost needed, like, an electric fence, like, built over the gorge or something.
I think they might have at one point, because there were sections of it missing from prior explosions and things. But they kind of suck at replenishing a lot of the stuff.
Yeah,
and
it's like
repairing some of the stuff. Like, you have very minimal things. And what if you run out of ammo?
Yeah,
do you get an airdrop?
They're just, like, holding things together by a thread.
Oh, yeah.
It seems like how they're just on the edge of things going terribly wrong.
And what if they attack while you're sleeping?
Right.
Like, they leave a lot of things up to chance.
Because I was thinking,
leave a lot of things
whenever
up to
they're out in the woods and stuff, it's like, well, what if they start crawling up and, it's like, I mean, it kind of seemed like they were trying to infer that, they only come at, like, a certain time. But it's like, why? Why would they only come at a certain time?
Yeah, it makes no sense.
Yeah.
They needed at least 2 people at a time on each side, I feel like.
Yeah, no, I agree.
At least. Really, it would have been more ideal as a team.
Yeah, always have someone watching.
Yes.
Yeah.
And just go in rotations and shifts. That would also help with the isolation. And you could potentially just station the team there indefinitely. Especially if they're considered expendable.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know why it was like just for a year and they're like, bye. Like, why can't they have just had them
Because
be there
isolation
for, like,
sucks and it does things to your psyche.
maybe, yeah.
You saw what happened in lockdown. People were losing their minds.
Fair.
Except the introverts. Like, get to stay home? Okay. Don't go out? Okay.
I mean...
I did get a little stir crazy here and there, but it's when you walk around a park or go for a drive.
I did not do any of that. I was in my house for a very long time.
Yeah.
But that was
But you're
when
also
I would
a noodle.
I would drink and play video games.
Yes.
That's how I beat the Insane trilogy, like the 100 Platinum did or whatever. Spyro 3 was a bane of my existence because of those skateboard races. Like, there was one in particular that I replayed that, like, I swear, like, it took me, like, 4 or 6 hours to, like, get through.
I'm good at the skateboard ones, typically. It's the flying time trials
Oh, those suck.
that got me now and then. And we're way off topic again.
But
yeah.
Free content.
That's what I got.
Yep.
That's what I got.
Yeah, like, I will admit it's probably a movie that not everyone will get into, but, between, like, the action and a little bit of romance and then, like, all of the really cool lore that they came up with, I think it's a really interesting movie.
And I feel like it's fairly well-rounded. It's just the scenario itself we keep poking at a little bit, but it's a movie.
Yeah.
And it was a good movie. It was entertaining. It had a ton of lore. We kind of wanted more. If it makes you want more lore, it did a good job.
Right. Yeah.
So, it's worth at least one watch. At least.
So, yep. But thank you for joining us today and let us know what you thought of the movie. If you'd like to recommend a movie, game, or tea, you can leave us a comment or join our Discord. And if you'd like to keep up to date with our content, you can find our link tree listed below.
And if you'd like to support us monetarily, we have a Teespring and PayPal donate button available. And you can find all of those sites mentioned linked below. But until the next time, guys, stay safe and stay spoopy.
Bye.
Bye.